Welcome back class 6 to the online bio classes. We will continue with the same chapter number 4, that is the human digestive system. In the previous class we had already studied about the digestive glands. 3 digestive glands are there. What are they? Salivary glands, liver and the pancreas. Each of them secrete a particular digestive juice that helps in the process of digestion. Like salivary gland, which is present in our mouth or oral cavity, produces saliva, which is a digestive juice that contains a starch digesting enzyme called salivary amylase. Similarly, liver is the largest gland, not second largest, and it is present in the right hand side above the abdomen, and liver produces a greenish yellowish fluid which is known as bile. And bile is the one, its function is not mentioned in the book. Bile is the digestive juice produced by liver which helps in the emulsification, that is breaking down of fats into smaller droplets, that is in the digestion of fats. Then third one we studied was the pancreas, which is also a digestive gland, and it is present in the U-shaped arm of duodenum. Duodenum is the part of small intestine. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum is the parts of small intestine. So in that U-shaped arm of duodenum we find a digestive gland which is called pancreas. Already we have studied all this, and pancreas produces a digestive juice which is called pancreative juice that contains different types of enzymes for the digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So today we are going to start the next topic, nutrition steps and process. What are the steps of nutrition? Nutrition is a process of taking of food, breaking them into simpler particles which can be absorbed into our bloodstream. So there are different parts or steps in the process of nutrition, starting from the intake of food. So the entire process of nutrition is divided into many steps. The first step of the process of nutrition is number 1, ingestion. Ingestion. The meaning of ingestion is taking of food is called ingestion. Like different animals have different methods of ingestion. For example, you can say the insects like mosquitoes suck the blood, so sucking type of mouth parts they have, whereas other animals they can eat the solid food, some take the liquid food. So depending on, so different steps of nutrition are, number 1 is ingestion. I said in your book it is given, process of taking food in the mouth. So taking of food in the mouth. Taking food in mouth is called ingestion. So the first step of digestion or the nutrition is ingestion, in which we simply take the food inside the mouth. It can be done by different animals in the different ways. I told you about the insect like mosquitoes. Similarly, other animals like amoeba can surround the food particle with the help of their false feet, which is called pseudopodium, and then they will ingest that food. That is, take the food inside their body parts and digest them with the help of different types of enzymes which are present there. Now the second step of nutrition is digestion. So what is digestion? Digestion is the process of breaking down of complex food into simple soluble form. So breaking of complex food into simple soluble form is called digestion. Like the food we eat, it is complex, it is made up of carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Now all these complex food particles, when acted upon by the enzymes, they are broken down into simpler substances. Like carbohydrate will be digested into maltose. Similarly, the fats will break down into fatty acids and glycerol. The proteins will get digested into proteoses and peptones. So this process of breaking off complex food particles into simpler form which can be absorbed in our bloodstream is called digestion. Okay? Now the third step is absorption. Once the food is digested, the food which we eat is digested in partial digestion occurs in the mouth with the help of saliva. When acted by saliva, that helps to break down the carbohydrates into maltose. Then the food enters inside the food pipe and then to the stomach. Inside the stomach, the food is digested with the help of digestive juice produced from gastric glands that produces gastric juice that contains different types of enzymes for the digestion of carbohydrates. Okay. Now next we have, after stomach, the food enters in a small intestine where it is acted upon by the bile which is produced from liver, as well as pancreatic juice which is produced from pancreas, and complete digestion process is completed in the small intestine. So this process of digestion is completed. Now from the walls of a small intestine, which contains many finger-like projections called villi, the digested food in the form of glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream. So this process of absorbing the digested food from the intestinal walls is in the bloodstream is called absorption. So what is absorption? Absorption is the process of absorption of digested food in the form of glucose from the villi of a small intestine, or through the villi of a small intestine to the bloodstream. Means the digested food is absorbed into the blood. Means now the food which has been digested enters in our circulatory system, and through that blood the digested food is supplied to all the body parts wherever it is required. It is in the form of glucose. It combines with oxygen and produces energy. Now next process we have in the steps of digestion is assimilation. The meaning of the word assimilation is the food which we intake, that is take the food, it becomes a part of our body, because the energy which is produced by the breakdown of that food is utilized for making of new cells that help in the growth and development of body. Okay? Okay, so what is assimilation? The process by which absorbed nutrients are utilized in the growth, development and utilization of the body. So food which is absorbed is utilized for the growth and development and the repair and replacement of dead on our cells. And the last topic or the last step which we have in the steps of nutrition is ingestion. The ingestion means the food which is undigested, it is thrown outside from the body. So removal of undigested food from the body in the form of feces or toilet is called ingestion. Okay, so up to here we have completed. Next we will study about the details of all these steps. Okay. Okay, so we had already completed all the steps of nutrition. Now I am going to explain it one by one what is the meaning of all these steps. Like first one is ingestion. It is the process of taking food inside the mouth, and you know that once we take the food inside the mouth, we use our teeth for cutting and biting the food, for tearing the food if it is a flesh, and we use it for grinding the food into smaller particles that can be swallowed before it enters inside our stomach or the food pipe. Okay, so inside the food is mixed with saliva, that is a digestive juice which is produced from salivary glands, and this saliva makes the food soft, moist. It also helps in the digestion of carbohydrate by changing it into soluble maltose. So the different functions of teeth is biting, grinding, chewing. It is mixed with saliva, and the food is made soft before it is swallowed and digested. The next step is digestion. The food is digested in the stomach, and intestine with the help of different types of enzymes. Like in the mouth, saliva, which is secreted from salivary glands, already I said, it helps to break down the carbohydrate into maltose because it contains an enzyme called salivary amylase enzyme that break down the starch present in the food into smaller particles of sugar, that is called maltose. So if asked what is maltose, maltose is the small particles of glucose which is formed by the digestion of carbohydrates or the starch. After chewing and mixing with the saliva, a food, semi-solid form of food is obtained, that is called bolus, and that bolus is swallowed. So once we swallow the food enters in our food pipe. Now it goes in the stomach. So in the stomach, the digested, with the food which is half digested or semi-digested food is pushed into the stomach through the food pipe, which is called esophagus. Now this is done with the help of a process called peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? It is the wave-like contraction and relaxation of the muscles of food pipe that pushes the food from the mouth, that is from the food pipe. The food is pushed down into the stomach by alternate contraction and relaxation of the muscles of food pipe. Walls of the stomach, once the food enters inside our stomach, the walls of the stomach secrete a juice called gastric juice, which is produced by gastric glands. It also contains it produces hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is the one which contains enzymes like pepsin and renin in the babies. Hydrochloric acid creates or produces an acidic medium in the food, and it helps to kill all the bacteria or the germs that have gone along with the food. It also helps in the digestion of proteins. Okay, now pepsin breaks down the complex proteins into smaller proteins, which is called proteoses and peptones. So what is the function of that pepsin? What is pepsin? Pepsin is the name of a protein digesting enzyme. What it will do? It will break down the proteins into proteoses and peptones. What are they? Proteoses and peptones. Second one is renin. Renin is also a protein digesting enzyme which acts on the milk protein and changes them into curd. That is, the milk changes or curdles in the stomach with the help of an enzyme called renin. The spelling is R-E-N-N-I-N, renin. The stomach muscles will churn the food, that is bolus, and it will help to mix the gastric juices to form a pulp-like substance which is acidic. Now the food inside the stomach becomes acidic. Why? Due to the presence of hydrochloric acid, and that acidic food is called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E, which then enters into the small intestine. Okay, so now what happens to the food in the small intestine? Okay, then the food, what happens of the food in the small intestine? In the small intestine, the acidic food, that is chyme, enters in the small intestine, and it is acted upon by bile, which is produced by liver but stored in the gallbladder. So from the gallbladder, bile juice will be secreted in the small intestine, and then the pancreas, which is also a digestive gland that produces pancreatic juice, it also acts on the semi-digested food in the small intestine, and they contain different types of enzymes for the digestion of different parts of the food. Like bile helps in the emulsification of fats. Emulsification means it will break down the large fat droplets into smaller droplets, that is into fatty acids and glycerol, which can be easily absorbed into the bloodstream. Similarly, the pancreatic juice contains all the three different types of enzymes which are required for the digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Like the enzymes which are present in pancreatic juice is number one, amylase. Amylase helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. That is number two, trypsin, T-R-Y-P-S-I-N. What is trypsin? It is the name of an enzyme present in pancreatic juice that helps in the digestion of proteins. And third one is the lipase, L-I-P-A-S-E, which is required for the digestion of fats. Okay. So now from the duodenum, the chyme passes into jejunum, that is the second part of the small intestine, and then into ileum. The cells which are lining the ileum has certain cells which are lining the ileum, that is the third part of the small intestine. It will secrete intestinal juice also. This intestinal juice contains number of enzymes that will further help in the process of digestion. So not only digestion, once the digestion process is fully completed in the small intestine, after that from the inner wall of the small intestine, tiny finger-like projections called villi is present that will help to absorb the digested food material, that is glucose, from small intestine into the bloodstream. So that is called absorption. So next step is the final products of digestion, that we'll do in the next class. So today up to this much only. In the next class we'll continue with the final products of digestion. Thank you.